making it up. I get that that question is probably a troll question, but I still wanted to answer it in case anybody was curious. All right. That being said, Elizabeth, let's get to your reading, my friend. A little general reading. I love these. So we can just see what pops out. Interesting. You had 2 significators pop out, which is interesting. So here's the deal. I do feel like you harbor a lot of anxiety. The reason that I'm saying that is because I get this 9 of Swords. This has more to do with the shadow self than anything else. Now, whenever you hear a spiritualist reference the shadow self, this is talking about all of the things that we all have, the doubts, desires, that we might not necessarily think are palatable. And so they end up being represented, and you can see the shadow of these swords, and this person kind of has their hand up and they're playing with their shadow on the wall, because it's talking about another version of ourselves that exists that we might not necessarily always love. And so point being, that also tends to, embedded in this concept, also has to do with like a lot of, like sometimes people who pull this card will be having like difficulties sleeping, or like having bad dreams by the time they do sleep. But moreover, it's just kind of like this idea that bubbles up about anxiety. Now with the Ace of Swords coming in inverted here, I think the anxiety is rooted around the fact that you're kind of always like, am I doing the right thing? Like, am I fucking this up? And I don't know that that's something that you always present to other people. I think it's something that you hold in the chest more than you do in... I think you hold it in your chest more than you announce it. I'll put it that way. Now, the difficulty that you're coming up on is I think you're getting a lot of things in life. In some capacities where you're like, yeah, I had always wanted this, but then you get it and you're like, oh, well, that's kind of like underwhelming compared to the way that I thought it would feel, because I get this 9 of Cups inverted. The 9 of Cups is charmingly nicknamed the wishing card, because it also has this idea of the genie complex when it's inverted, where it's like, yeah, you might be able to get what you want in this life, but when you get it, you might find out that it's not actually what you were looking for. It's a little bit of a conundrum there. You hold yourself wildly accountable for things, and that's what I'm getting, given that, first of all, you had 2 significators pop out, which never happens, but then swords are the mental realms. So all of our intellect, but also our anxiety lives there. You come through very strong in that energy to me. Now, I feel like there are people counting on you in some way, even if it's quietly. That's just what I'm getting in the peripheral vision here. And so sometimes you feel overwhelmed and you will isolate on accident just for like certain pockets of time. That's a great question. I'm not religious, no. Used to be. But anyway, so down underneath you, and I guess right on top, you always are trying to present emotional opportunity to other people, because you don't want people to feel isolated and alone, but it also can be kind of difficult for you to do that sometimes, because you're trying to iron things out in other people that you haven't necessarily ironed out in yourself, and that's okay, by the way. Healers don't have to be 100% healed to be good at healing. Nobody's ever 100% healed, so just, something to put in the brain. Now, as I'm moving forward with you, I'm seeing you heal a lot of hurt. This is like deep hurt, because it comes in the 3 of Swords inverted. Now this is like heartbreak or big emotional difficulty that's kind of developing like a callus over the top of it, and that's why I'm describing it as healing instead of just hurting. And this is a pretty imminent project for you. I don't know if you've identified the Swords, if this is literally like a breakup or a heartbreak, or if this is moreover like something from the past that needs to be dealt with in terms of like childhood familial relation, because I do get the 10 of Pentacles coming on the table for you, but it's on the other side of the board. Now for you, I do think that like part of the struggle for you is sometimes there's something about like future plans that don't, either you struggle to envision your future, or you change your plan more than you expected to, and so you have to develop alternate arrangements, very specific. Now, I think people close to you, they see that you kind of take over again. I don't think you see yourself as one of acknowledge that you've got some of those tendencies. I think really what you're just trying to do is you're trying to make the world better than it was when you woke up that morning. And a lot of people don't do that. So that's not a generalized statement. Like some people really don't give a fuck. And I think that for you, you're like, no, I'm just going to people where you're like, I just want to be able afraid that you're going to continue to struggle with some of this pain from the past that you've had, because there's a lot to work through here. Like, there's a lot to synthesize. And I think given that you are somebody who innately wants to heal other people, healing yourself is actually somewhat more difficult for you, because it's not like a third-party situation where you can look at it objectively. It's very close to home for you. It's kind of the same reason that sometimes you can be a therapist, but you might not want to be a therapist for, your coworker. For you within yourself. Or you can heal other people like this, but when it comes to you, you're like, fuck, like, I don't know, and you have trouble seeing those things until they're actually talked out on the table with somebody else, which I think is kind of important. Here's the thing. I think you have a lot of force within you, heavy, it's interesting, because heavy air from the swords, but also heavy fire from the wands. And so for that, I think one of two things can happen with you. If you think about it, it's kind of like you can strike a match and blow it out like that with air, but at the same time, wind can light up an entire countryside in flames when just one piece of grass has been on fire. You know what I mean? And I think that's kind of the way you operate. And I'm not trying to say just strictly that you're all or nothing. I'm just saying that you have a lot of potential in whichever direction you, or I guess, contingent upon what timing you hit that flame with your air. Very specific, but do you see where I'm going with this here? The key to the kingdom is that you have always been a leader for other people. You've always been a catalyst for other people, and it does kind of keep you sedentary in some ways. When you learn that you don't have to translate for everybody around you all the time, you're going to find a lot more peace in that, I think. But I do congratulate you for the cards here, because for a general reading, I know that was pretty loaded, but I'm really hoping that's what you needed to hear when you came to the table today. Let me pull an advice card for you. Keep in mind that sometimes stability is limited. Stability can be great, but it can also keep you tied down. And it might be okay to let some of those things go from the past. I'm not saying that you really need to chew with this processing you've been doing, but also like you don't have to take on it all at the same time. You know what I mean? So I hope that's what you were looking for, my friend. Thank you so much for okay, I've got my fabulous friend Alaya for a general reading. Alaya, just let me know that you're here, my friend. So it looked like in your notes you said a general